Hey, this is Randall Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. The topic today is going to be how to use the free trial in the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First interview. Now, we've not done that before, okay? But I will tell you that the free trial has an over 50% closing ratio when you use the free trial to close the case, especially for you Zoomers and for you people who are out there doing cyber sales instead of face-to-face. So that's what we're going to look at today. That's the topic today. That's the things to consider. And the topic then is how to incorporate the free trial into the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First interview. Now, I sent you all an email this morning, and I said you probably, it might be easy. I don't know if you have two screens, but if you have the free trial opened up, it's going to help a lot. But if you don't, let's do this. Let's just ask ourselves the question: what is the free trial? And everybody here can go to your own personal webpage, Family Tree Asset, your Family Estate Docs webpage, click on sales and click on the free trial. The other thing is, I sent that free trial out to 110 people this morning, and all I had to do was go to the free trial link on my page and copy and paste it. It's in the bottom right-hand corner. So if you all have the free trial, you can look in the bottom right-hand corner, and it gives you the link for the free 10-day trial. And I like the 10 days. Some people like the 5. I like the 10. I'm going to tell you why. If I send somebody a 10-day trial, I'll try to send it to them on a Wednesday or Thursday. And I might engage them in a little bit of a conversation on Monday or Tuesday. But if they really don't bite the hook and buy the trial, then on Thursday or Friday, I'm going to say, hey, why don't we set an appointment to look at that free trial someday next week before the 10 days is up? Okay, so they're engaged in the estate planning process without even realizing it, because they're talking to you about their free trial, and you're talking to them about the free trial. And whether it takes 1 day or 4 days or 5 days, it's eventually going to sink in that the free trial is something that they need to look at, because the free trial does everything. It gives them the opportunity to design their own estate plan and the opportunity to buy at the retail price. Okay, but what I want to show you is what I think you ought to do if you're going to use the free trial and combine it with Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First interview. So look at all these messages bopping around there. Isn't that fancy? The free trial is a link on our personalized Family Estate Docs website. It allows you to send a link to a suspect or prospect as a lead magnet. And I think Lisa and I are going to be talking about lead magnets here soon, but it allows you to send a link to a suspect or prospect as a lead magnet, or to continue an estate plan conversation you have opened up in your approach. And remember, now I wrote the book, Approach, Plan, Succeed. And if you go to randallbaxter.com and FTAP training, and then use the password FTAP courses, there's a section in that ebook there that says, why do you need to use the right approach? And sometimes if you send me 10 suspects, Cynthia, you might have 10 different approaches.
Yes.
Okay. So and that's why I want to talk about each person, because, I've learned that you need to talk to people the way they talk to you. So my friend Teddy Wampler and I were going back and forth because he gets mad at me because I don't put reply all when he sends me an email. Okay. Because sometimes I just look at it and I think I just respond to the person that's sending me the email. Okay. Today he sent me a text message, and I asked him if that was a reply all text message. Okay. But it seems like Ted and I communicate better with our texts than we do on our email. But I've got other clients that I communicate better by email. And then I've got other clients that I communicate better by phone And then I've got a couple clients that'd be better if I just yelled out the window. Okay, so everybody, you should learn to communicate with people based on the way they communicate best. I hope that makes sense. But you can copy and paste the link that's on your web page to your email and send it out. I sent out 110 today. I don't know. I haven't checked to see if I had any sign up. I would expect the natural response would be maybe 2 to 4. But if I approach 102 by email and I get 2 to 4, then I've got 4 of the 10 that I need for the month, don't I? 10, 7, 3, 1, $250,000 income. So and here's the way I would do it. This is how I would do a conference call, because I'm not very good at conference calls either. But then I would follow up with a Zoom or a phone call to discuss the free trial. Hey, here's free trial. And all you got to do is go in there and answer the questions. But if you want to, out here on the phone, I'll teach you how to walk through that free trial. Would you like to do that? So at the end of the free trial, the prospect will be offered the ability to purchase the plan. Okay, so you've sent the free trial. Okay, they've got it. And now you just pick up the phone and call them or email them or text them or yell out the window. Doesn't matter. When you call the prospect to see if they had time to review the free trial, ask them if they have time to review it with you now. Hey, I might look at it and say, hey, Eddie, you got time to do it now? Or set an appointment to do so. You might say, no, Randy, I'm busy right now, but I've said I'm not busy Monday afternoon. My problem right now on my schedule is that it's hard for me to say, if you want a future set appointment, I'm usually looking at 8-10 days out, or I got to bump somebody. Okay, so or soon, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be saying, hey, yeah, we need to talk about that, but maybe I think you would talk better about that with Greg Davis than with me, because he's got the skill and he's been trained to talk about that topic. Okay, but then I'm going to get back to the old things that I always do, and if you're not doing it, it's probably costing you money, but it's your choice. But it's also possible that you tell your client you're sending the free trial because you think they would benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. Here's free trial. If you'll look at the free trial, then we'll have the conversation soon or later. It doesn't matter. We don't have to worry about setting a date right now, but I think it gives you the opportunity to say, I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan. Then add this statement. And it's part of the script, folks. Those who do have this conversation with me usually learn something they were not aware of about their existing plan. If I was hunting and I knew that there was one certain little whistle that if I whistled, whatever I was hunting was going to come to me, well, why would I not get ready to go hunting? And right before I was getting ready to start hunting, why wouldn't I blow that whistle? And that whistle is, I think you'd benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. Those who do have this conversation with me usually learn something they were not aware of about their existing plan. That is not that hard to memorize. And you come across, if you say that, you come across so strong where hey, I'm a doctor, and I can have this conversation, and I'll be able to diagnose any issues that you might have. And I'll probably be able to write the right prescription. I like this picture. But this is all you have to say to people. Before we start, I need you to know I'm a better advisor if I understand your family dynamics, and I need to ask a few questions. Will that be okay? Now, you've got them looking at their free trial. And now all you got to do is go right into the family tree presentation. And if you're on the phone, it wouldn't bother me for you to ask your prospect. Now, remember, now they're not a suspect anymore because they're talking to you. Remember the definition? Prospect is someone who's agreed to talk to you on a favorable basis. Suspect is somebody you just wish they would talk to you. So if you're on the phone, ask your prospect to access a blank piece of paper if you're old school, and we're going to have a lesson on it sometime probably in January on how to use a whiteboard on your computer. The reason we haven't had it yet is because I don't know how to do it. Well, I'm going to learn. So, and the reason I try to tell you all that there's things I don't know how to do, but I'm going to learn. I need you to look at this thing and go, there's things I don't know how to do, but I'm going to learn it because Randy says it's worth $250,000 if I do it right starting January 1. And Randy's right. So go in, and that's a minimum. If you do this right, $500,000 is not out of the question. Easy. But you got to do it right. And you got to think you can do it right. And you got to want to do it right. And you have to throw all your hang-ups out the window and say, I'm going to do it right. So if you're on the phone, I'm going to say, grab a piece of paper. And that's where I like to throw in the sales presentation. Hey, can you draw circle size of a quarter? Can you? Can you, Eddie? All right. So now go into the family tree asset position and go to first interview. Just go right into it. And when you do that, you're leading up to the section of the interview where you explain the estate plan in reverse. This is, when you're about to explain the estate plan in reverse, this is when you can go to the free trial. And all of a sudden, you're going to be interacting with this person, which is what they want you to do. And if they're putting you off and say, hey, I don't want to do this, I'm too busy to do this, we'll just reschedule. But by doing this, you're leading up to the section of the interview where you explain the estate plan in reverse. But before you do that, be sure and get the names and addresses and details of all people in the family tree. When you draw circles the size of a quarter, get their name in there, get their birthday in there, find out what state they live in, get as much information as you can. Get your information in advance. What I do works pretty well. But, if I can read it once the ink dries, that's my problem. Okay, so you have to learn to use better letters and block letters and things like that. But if you have a whiteboard or a piece of paper, you'll be able to help your prospect enter into the free trial. Remember, it's free trial. Sell it that way. So, if you'll just use the things that you learned in the family tree asset position and go to first interview, just use what you studied in the script and apply it to the free trial. Use the gaps and cliffs you discovered to be your base premise of research. It's okay. They'll listen to you. They're looking at the free trial, but you don't have to spend the whole time on the free trial because you want to be a better advisor, don't you? So you need to ask some questions and you need to ask them if it's okay. So first you need to complete the go-to interview. Your mission is to give them the free trial, but if you're going to wait on them to fill it out, it's not so good. Help them fill it out, really good. So what do? Well, you want to make a presentation that's not so good? Hey, fill this out. Let me know when you got it done. Or, hey, I can help you fill that out. But before I do that, I'm a better advisor if I just know a little bit of information about your family. Is that okay? They'll say yes. So you need to do the family tree go-to first interview all the way through the one power phrase. You've done a good job with your assets. Would you like to see how that works in your estate plan? And they'll say, yeah. So now I'm looking at the family tree and I'm talking to my client on the free trial I'm just going to look at them and say, hey, let's enter the names of all the people in your family tree. Let's look at the software and see where we do that. We'll want to start with the first 3 red buttons in the free trial. See, they're looking at the free trial. And those buttons are up and down on the right-hand side of the page. So we want to start with the first 3 buttons in the free trial and then the yellow button on your free trial. Let's look at those. And that's what I would say. Let's look at them. So they're going to have their free trial. You may as well have one open. But you might not need the free trial to be open. You might go down to sales instead of going down to the second drop down to free trial. You might go to sales and drop down to that bottom trial. Okay, but they're exactly the same thing. One just has a purchase button on it, and one doesn't. So you want to guide them into those buttons and say, look at these buttons. Because now you got to remember, what's that person thinking right now? They're not thinking they're going to buy. They're just thinking that you're going to help them learn what those buttons are for. And you got to get them to want to go look at the buttons. So they click on those buttons. So let's just, hey, let's just see what information is required. That's all you need to say to them. Let's just see, let's click on that first button there. And let's see what information is required. You might want to make some trust provisions. See that red button? Let's visit that page. There's a button there that says trust provisions. All you got to do is click on it. And now if they click on it and you know they're clicking on it, and if you're doing it by a Zoom call and they click on it, man, they're going through the process with you because you're leading them through it. Okay, so let's go back to the family tree and discuss your children, your beneficiaries, and any disinheritances. Because remember now, you've already drawn a family tree and they've already talked to you a little bit about it. Now they're looking at the software. So, remember when we discussed you being in the hospital in a coma? Because if you go through the process, we don't have to cover that in this part because you already know you're going to do things in reverse. So you're already going to talk to them about being in a coma. That's a whole different class. I don't think I need to go into that. But remember when we discussed you being in the hospital in a coma, who did you pick to represent you? Who was your successor? See that blue button marked healthcare agent? Click on that button a minute. Let's take a look at that. And they'll go over to that free trial and they'll click on that healthcare agent button. And they'll see how easy it is to go in and pick the people that they want to have. And you've got their family tree right there in front of them. So, as you may remember, we didn't let you die on that table, but we had you disabled for several months. So let's go back to your free trial a minute. See the button marked financial agent? And they'll go, yeah. Well, let's look at that. So then we discussed that you might have passed away. If you have a pour over will, who would you want to represent if you passed away? And you just write it down. They're probably the same person they want as a power of attorney. Okay. Oh God, misspelled contingent, didn't I? Right there. See it. Who would be your continent? I'm sorry about that. That should be contingent. Are they in your family tree? That's what you get sometimes when you work early in the morning. But anyway, let's talk about the possibility of establishing a revocable trust for a minute. First, we must understand the role of the trustor and the trustee. Now, here I am talking to the person that's got the software open. The trustor, and I haven't asked them to go to a button yet. The trustor owns the trust and makes all decisions. The trustee is the manager, not the owner, and must follow the trustor's decisions. That's pretty simple, right? And then I'll look at them and go, you'll always be trustor. And you know what? You can have this right in front of your screen while you're talking to them. But you'll always be trustor. But even if you're incompetent or dead, you're still going to be the trustor. But you might not always be trustee. and they're going to be listening to you because if you go through the family tree asset positioning sales presentation, you've already talked about their long-term care. You've already talked about some of the other stuff. Okay. Because you want to do the presentation and you want to go back to the free trial. But there's 4 reasons you may not be trustee. You might pass away. You might have 2 doctors state you are unable to make decisions. A judge may rule you to be disqualified. You may even want to resign. I had a hard conversation with clients last week on the power of attorney. One's had a stroke and one's got kidney failure and is almost 90 years old, and the kids are putting pressure on them, and they asked me to come to the house, and the kids were all crowded around. I told the kids go watch TV. I said, I'm going to talk to your parents a little bit. And I went over the power of attorney, and I said, neither one of you are healthy enough to be at the other side in an emergency. Don't you think maybe it's okay to turn over some powers and keep the rest? And they agreed, and what they agreed to do was resign as each other's power of attorney for finances, because they can't go to the bank for each other anymore. But they wanted to hold on to all their other powers, and that's okay. And there was a whole lot of distrust in the children. So then I called the children up and I said, crowd around your parents right here. And I was sitting at the table with mom and dad and 4 adult children. And I said, is there any reason for me to think that you all wouldn't do exactly what your parents want with their finances? You're not going to pull it. Is anybody here thinking about pulling any shenanigans? that was kind of a dirty play, wasn't it? But I made them all admit that they were all going to do exactly what their parents intended. And that broke a lot of the tension that was going on. I didn't know I was going to have to do it that night, but I did it. And it worked because I read their documents to them. But anyway, who in your family tree would you want to represent you in your estate? And then I'd look at them and I'd say, I'd be looking at the free trial and I'd say, see that blue button marked trustee selection? Let's go there and see what kind of questions they ask. You want to? Sometimes it's a smart thing to do to act like you don't know what you're doing. But anyway, now we need to discuss final wishes in the advanced care sections. Let's go back to the free trial and review those options. And did you see those buttons down there at the bottom that talk about the advanced directives? You want to talk about those? And they'll go, yeah, and they'll start typing, they'll start answering the questions. And you know what? I've almost got the whole thing filled out. Almost. But we need to talk about bequests. One other item we should discuss, and I'm talking to the person that's got their free trial open. We ought to talk about bequests. See that button down there that says bequests? Why don't we click on that and let's see what that's doing? And they'll click on it because they may have some guns, or they may have some things rings or things that they want to give away. Maybe they want to tell somebody where the money is in the mattress. I don't know. But a bequest are gifts and orders you make that must be paid in advance of beneficiary distributions. So I'd look at them and say, do you have any? Most people say no. And I'd look and say, see how easy that was? I'd be talking to my client who's opened a free trial. See how easy it was? You've done a good job with your assets. Don't you think implementing the proper paperwork to avoid probate court is a good idea? We've already got all the work done. And you still got 4 or 5 days left on your free trial. It's okay. But, would you like to implement while it's fresh on your mind? This paperwork can be ready within the week for notary and witnesses. All we have got to do is, you've got everything that, and we could even talk about the reasons people don't have an estate plan. Remember, we've talked about those months and months ago. It's that they thought it would cost too much, or they didn't know who to go talk to. They didn't want to spend the time driving downtown and parking the car and paying parking, going up, and they didn't have a round to it. Those of you who ordered round to it, thank you. I was just doing it for fun, but if you use them right, they'll make you some money. I've given away 2 today. I like having them. They're cool. But anyway, all that's left in the decision to implement, and just to let you know the value of these services and documents in this software service, you have a lifetime license to make changes without additional legal fees. So I have a chance now to build up the value. All you have to do is enter your login and password, and when life happens and there are relationship changes and asset changes and health changes, your documents are ready for reinstatements, absolutely without additional legal fees. That should be for and not form. The rest of your life, if you maintain the annual storage fee of $29.95. Isn't that a good deal? Your attorney's going to charge you every time you walk in and want to make a change. So now that we've said that, and I think you want this, don't you? I mean, what better time to do it than right now? Because you've designed it the way you want. You can use any closing technique you want to. And the next step is going to be the funding interview. But what power phrases? Oh, I got to go back there one. What power phrases in the family tree asset positioning interview does that for you? Think about it. Mr. and Mrs. New Client, and they're not a prospect anymore. They've given you the money for the trust. They put their credit card in. They punched the buy button. But you want to review it first. And even if they buy it, you can still make an appointment to go in and make changes. If they say they want to think about it, say, great, let's think about it together. Let's get it done. But now, Mr. and Mrs. New Client, now that we have your estate plan moving in the right direction, it's important that we start the funding process. And so you can go right into it. After you do the front end sale, it's time now to move into setting the stage for the back end sale. And that's what we talked about last week. So when you come back in, I have some ideas for you, but I need to do some research and run some numbers. And when you come back in to pick up your estate plan, do you want to see your numbers? If you're not asking that question, you're not going to make it to $250,000 doing 10-7-3-1. You might get there, but you're going to work a lot harder to get it. And then that's you. You're just jumping with joy. You say, great, let's get this done. So let's think about it. If you're gonna, let's say you hand out 100 free trials. Well, you only have to have 10 of them agree to talk to you. That's what gets you moving. And some of y'all are having such a hard time getting started. Just cranking up getting your momentum built. Momentum is, once it's done, you start having days like me where you can't get everything done and you need help. But the family tree asset positioning works because of these reasons. And we talked about this last week. It helps you be a better advisor if you understand the family dynamics. You've got the free trial software right there in front of them. It gives you the opportunity to discuss the current estate plan of your prospect. It gives you the opportunity to gather needed data. It allows you to make the proper diagnosis, and it allows you the opportunity to offer the best prescription. 10, 7, 3, 1. Make that prescription offer. You're going to offer it 3 or 4 times, and they're all going to buy it. They just might not buy it tonight, but they're all going to buy it. And if you do it right, they'll buy it within a couple of days. They'll buy it 1 week later if you'll set up the funding interview on the delivery of the estate plan. I went backwards, sorry. And there's that little baby hand again. Now, I don't know if that's a child or a grandchild. I don't know. But you will have discovered and or created a lifelong project desired by all people. You, by handing out a free trial, have planted a seed that could go on for decades and even 100 years. And get you a lot of repeat sales and a lot of additional sales. But anyway, you will have discovered and created a lifelong project desired by all people who love their families or have a legacy to protect. either by confirming the best solution is already in force or by making the prospect aware of things they had yet to consider. Hey, if you talk to me, you might learn something. We might learn something together that we were not aware of in your current estate plan. And you can say that just as comfortable as you want to. So, so this skill makes you the advisor unique, and we talked about that last week in the financial services, right? You become distinctive. Don't you want to be distinctive? Do you want to do the same seminar everybody else is doing? Do you want to do the same presentation everybody else is doing? I hope not, because that makes you like a commodity, like a piece of corn in a bushel of corn. Anyway, you hand out that free trial in order to accomplish the front end sale. That's the mission. It's not the goal. It's just the immediate mission. You're either by getting someone out of the government plan called probate, you're creating a new estate, restating an existing plan, confirming the existing plan is appropriate, and now it's time to do the proper funding review. Why give away a free trial if you're not going to be shooting for the funding interview? And that means you got to be talking to people that can afford it. You got to be talking to people who got the assets. And we looked at this frame last week. This is the key. You have to make your client aware of what needs to be done, and it gives you the opportunity to sell your prospect on you. Sometimes it drives me crazy to look at people who try to sell too quick. They're product salespeople, or they try to sell on their web page or in their email. Don't do that. You're better off selling them on you first. And we talked about unique mechanisms. You've got, everything I've tried to teach everybody in the past year, they're all unique mechanisms. People, they're techniques that people don't use that work very, very well. And they don't use them because they don't know how. They don't use them because they don't know they exist. You do. But I promise you, in 2024, the estate planning community, I think, is going to grow by 400 or 500% all across the United States. And it's still not going to be enough. And I'm just telling you, get ahead. Get ahead. Because most of the estate planning companies aren't teaching this. They're saying, go write one and sell a product and call me. That's their training. That's their whole training. They're not going down and breaking down every step of the way to take someone who's unaware and taking them up to the point where they can make a decision. It's a process. And I even teach you where to insert the salesman. It's not, you don't insert the salesman where they're unaware. You don't insert the salesman where they're aware. You don't even have to insert the salesman where they're doing their research. You insert the salesman when it's time to start eliminating data to lead yourself to the best decision. That's where the salesperson comes in. Until then, you're a marketer. And all good salespeople got marketing people. So to be prepared is to be confident. Some of you folks are not prepared. Even some of the people, I've talked to people yesterday, are not prepared for the interview. They have not done their homework. And then when they say, I didn't make that sale, and I talk to them about what they did, tell me about what you did. And I look at them and I'll go, well, that's not what I taught you to do. Why did you do it that way? Crickets. So, to be prepared is to be confident. Use the family tree, use the confidential, use the agenda for the second interview. If I give you every tool that you need to prosper, and then you go to work and don't take your tools, so remember this. Family tree asset positioning is a process that should last the entire life of the client, because they're going to keep adding circles the size of a quarter downward. They may keep adding circles the size of a quarter off to the right or off to the left. They may lose a spouse, divorce a spouse, change sex of a spouse, whatever. They still need to talk. So you get better each time you do it. And if you want to be good at giving away free trials, give away a bunch of them. Why not start today? Right there where it says 10 suspects, it might be 100 free trials equal 10 suspects equal 7 prospects equal 3 front. If you want to sell off the free trial. I personally don't. I probably would have when I first started this. But my problem right now is my momentum is a snowball. And I have to slow it down a little bit. And I have to get people to help me work on the snowball. But that doesn't mean that what I'm telling you is not a good way for you if you like to do Zoom calls and things like that. This is just another way. So, but here's what it's going to lead to, and you've seen this before. This is the money machine right here. That leads to long-term care, asset-based long-term care, income planning discussions, current health status considerations, liquidity reviews, annuity reviews, life insurance discussions, retirement conversations, IRA reviews, 401k options, advocate discussions. Why not have a sales presentation that can do it all? On my way back from Lenore City today, I called a client and she said, "Where you been?" And I said, "Well, I've been pretty busy." And she said, "Well, we just want to make sure you were still around because we hadn't heard from you in 4 or 5 weeks." You only want to hear from your client, a couple of years, once a year or so. But unless you're getting lots of leads, okay. And the question was, I have $90,000 in the bank and I'm getting 4.5% interest. What should I do with it? And I said, well, to be honest with you, knowing what you already have, you need to leave it right there. Some people would have gone right into a product sale. But I think the right advice was they need to leave it right there. The free trial is just another unique mechanism that helps you accomplish your primary promise, which is, I think you will benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. I never changed my primary promise. My unique mechanisms are just my tools. And I may use one. It depends on where I am in that conversation. That's what determines which tool I use. Ask a carpenter. So, when I say your unique mechanisms, I'm going to change that. I'm going to say that's my unique mechanism. Those are mine. That's what I like to use. I'm just suggesting to you that you make them yours because they work. And if you're doing something that works better, that's great. Teach me, show me. But your unique mechanism, align your client's choices with their most important goals and their deeply held values. Well, why wouldn't you want to do that? And they don't even know you're doing it until all of a sudden they realize that that's what you've done. It helps, if you start with a free trial, it'll help you put your client's house in perfect order and allow them the tools to keep it that way. And with the proper back-end funding creates a level of confidence that no matter what happens, their goals will be achieved. There's a book out called Looking Out for Number One. and several great motivators out there are trying to tell you, you will get what you want if you will help other people get what they want. But if you're wanting to get something from the relationship by helping other people get what they want, you better be good at helping them find out what it is they want, because a lot of them don't know. I mean, they know, but they just don't know how to form it and get there. They need somebody to guide them and lead them through that process. So I'm going to go ahead and open it to questions. Are there any questions about what we've said? Any criticism, any remarks, any subject twos out there? I'd like to talk about them.
I have a question. Actually, I have two questions. The first question is, if I just want to double check, if they're doing the free trial and they fill out all of their information and then they click buy now, all of their information transfers over?
Yep.
Okay.
And you can go back in and change it.
Okay.
You know, if they say, 2 or 3 days later, they say, well, I thought about it, I want to change it. Yes, it's not written in stone yet because you haven't reviewed it and printed it off.
Okay. All right. And then the second question is, if we're going over a free trial with somebody and we're doing your presentation, why are we not filling out the software? Because this is a free trial presentation. Why are we not filling out the software at the time we're actually asking them the questions? It seemed to me, maybe I misunderstood, but it seemed to me like you're doing it twice. So you went through your presentation and then you went and you did the same thing in your software.
Right.
So why not just put the software? That's my question.
If you use the free trial, they have entered it in the computer.
Right.
If I was doing it on the phone, I might not use the free trial. I might go down and use that option 4.
Option 4 or what? What are you talking about?
On sales. What is it? You got the sales landing page, the free trial, your clients. Steve, what's that bottom number 4? Do you know?
Okay, but I'm talking about when you're doing the free trial. This is what the whole thing was today, right?
Uh-huh.
You're giving them your presentation within the free trial.
Yes.
That's what the whole thing was today, right?
Yep.
So I think I understood that you gave your presentation and then you went back and said, okay, let's fill it in to your free trial. And what I am asking is, why not fill that out as you go?
Well, I'm making the assumption that you've offered them something that they're not sure they want yet.
I know, but we're showing them how to use the free trial. Is that?
They're filling it out.
All right, but
when you're talking to them.
I'm trying to ask Randy here. So
go ahead.
So you're going through the free trial with them and you're going through your presentation with them, right?
Right.
So first thing we're doing is putting them in a coma, talking to them about the healthcare power of attorney. My question is, why don't we show them where that goes on their free trial right when we ask them that question?
Well, I do, don't I?
They are.
Yeah, I do that. I look at them and go, let's go to your free trial. See those buttons? See that red button?
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood. That's why I was asking the question.
Yeah.
So you were with each one then.
Right, but when I do it in reverse, I have to do it in reverse. I have to show them where that button is. And see, my whole purpose of a free trial is to desensitize them through the process and make it a learning experience by showing them those buttons and showing them that they can go in and punch those buttons and go in and change their answers.
Right. I realize that. I misunderstood. So that's why I was
okay. Listen, there's 28, 29, 30 people here on this thing. It's going to be done 30 different ways. But if again, I'm just showing you an agenda. Okay. That if, the purpose of the free trial is, to me, it's just an approach. But it doesn't bother me at all to reach out and have a piece of paper. Sometimes I carry a piece of notebook paper folded up 4 or 5 times in my pocket. And in case they don't have a piece of paper, and then I'll whip it out and say, let's draw your family tree. This will be fun. And then I'll unfold that piece of paper and I'll start drawing those circles. And people look at that and they go, you know, you're right. And they dive into the family tree asset positioning presentation. But when you add the free look to it, we're leaving a trail that they can still say, I want to think about it. But if you're good, I don't ever hear I want to think about it. I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to be cocky and say, I don't hear I want to think about it. And very seldom do I ever hear they don't have any money.
Because you're talking to
Sometimes it's
people that got money.
Well, that's because I find out on page 3 whether they have any money before I ask them to buy. Okay, so that's what page 3 is for.
Mhm.
That's why I just want ballparks. You know,
Gotcha.
if they're living hand to mouth, I'll help them get a will. And sometimes I even give them one. You know, they're not the right person for me, but that doesn't mean I can't improve their life. It doesn't mean I don't have the power to fix things. Susan, you've got a question? I see your hand up.
Yeah, I do. Are we able to pull up their free trial as they're filling it out on our screen, as they are looking at it on their screen? Is that something we can do?
Okay. When you go to the free trial, if you send them just a free trial, you'll get a notification that they have entered the free trial, but they're going to have their own password for it. Okay, so they're still going to have privacy unless they buy it. And that's the reason I would go to my sales presentation and on sales and go down to that 4th drop down where it just says the interview. It's not the free trial. And you go to the basic interview and I fill it out as I go. So even if they don't want to give me the information, I already have it. So those of you who have this your web page open, go there and look. I'm afraid if I did it, I might lose you. But go to your own sales page. Hey, Tony, you could go to Tony Sheets a web page and click on sales, and you have 4 drop downs. And number 2 is the free trial. Number 4 is the interview where you can enter the answers in there, and you can save that if you want to. Okay, so until they actually punch by, you'll have the drawing on your family tree, but if they don't want you to see it, they won't give you their password. But you don't have to. If you've done the sales presentation, you've got everything you need. And even if they don't buy it, if they buy it later, you can pull it up and they'll give you their credit card, and you go in, you've got all the information, you fill it out for them. I fill out, I do most of the filling out for my clients. You know, I already have the information. I may have to pick up the phone and call them, or I might ask Linda to call them, or somebody call them, and I say, hey, I need to know what the addresses and birthdays are of these people. And they've already given you money for the estate plan. So they're going to answer the questions, even if you don't get it all. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, Susan, but they do have the privacy where they can have their own password. If they, you'd have to ask them for it.
I'm just curious how you're following along with them if you don't have their information in front of you, I guess. I see where you can go and launch the demo.
Okay, the demo. But Susan, I've done it so many times. I don't need, I can just shut my eyes and do the conversation. And everybody in this room will be able to do that if I can just get you to doing it enough times. I've got family trees laying around here everywhere. I try to put them in their file. But if I do the presentation, I draw the circle the size of a quarter, and I do the interview, and I've got everything I want before they realize I even am getting it. And that's the art. That's the skill, and that's and to be honest with you, it's to their advantage that you do that, because you can continue the conversation with them after the fact. If they don't act on the free trial, you've got everything because you drew it. Okay, and then all you have to do is follow up with an email and say, I just want to check and see what you're thinking about that. Don't you think we ought to go ahead and get this done? After, if you say that to them, they have to say yes or no. Well, if they say no, okay, 10 minus one no is 9. You're going to get 7 yeses. You're going to get 7 yeses. And the reason most of you don't have 7 yeses is because you haven't asked 10 people. You're going to get 7 yeses. You're going to get 3 trust sales. You're going to get 1 back-end sale minimum if you're just a rookie. But as soon as you're not a rookie anymore, you're going to be getting 2 or 3 of those back-end sales a month. And, you know, 2 or 3 back-end sales a month, that's a lot of money at the end of the year. I hope I answered your question, Susan. It's a great question.
Randy,
Yes?
do you have, what do you use for the liquidity review, the annuity review, and the IRA review? Do you use particular forms?
Cynthia, no, I don't. I do gaps and cliffs and sure
Okay.
things and maybes. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into a conversation with what I'm going to call a conscious incompetent about the internal workings of an annuity contract. It's
Mhm.
almost a guaranteed loss
Got you.
because I want them to understand. And I might say, hey, now this is an income annuity. You want to talk about accumulating annuities? We can. Okay. And I pivot to an accumulating annuity or a MYGA after they understand that the product that eliminates most of their fears is an index annuity contract with an income rider on it. You know, I think I told y'all last week that the big decision was an unhealthy wife that couldn't get in the office and couldn't hardly breathe when she sat down. Did she want a MYGA for $250,000 with 6% interest? Or did she want an index annuity that had a guaranteed 6% income growth with a doubler if she couldn't do 2 activities a day of living? And I just shut up, and all of a sudden mom and dad started talking to each other. And then dad looked at her and said, I want this for you. I want you to have that income doubler. And she said, that's what I wanted too, but I just didn't know if it would be okay from you. And that was 2 people who loved each other that just had never been brought to the situation where it was time to have the conversation. And they had gone 15 years with their money over at Vanguard with no advisor. Vanguard and all those people, like that's the easiest. You know, if you want to fire a broker, find somebody that's got Vanguard. Find somebody that's got $500,000 in an investment somewhere. That brokers are not paying attention to them, and they're not you know, the brokers are selling them what the broker wants them to have. It's so easy to just go in there and pull it out of there, and the client's going to be happy they did it. And right now, if you're not selling income riders and hooking a MYGA next to it, you're passing up a big opportunity to help your client and make a lot of money at the same time. Any more questions? Look at all those hands up there. When I say thank you for your time, look there. How about some more questions? We're approaching in the past 8 months almost. We're getting real close to 25 million in sales, just from students who in January didn't even think they were ever didn't even know how to sell an annuity. Some did, but we got people that are selling products now that have never sold them before, just because they're following the unique mechanisms. They're making the primary promise and following the unique mechanisms. You ought to do it too if you want to.
Okay.
You need a round to it, don't you?
You know, actually,
Yeah.
I brought some
Good.
some time ago, and
Okay.
I've got my information on it. You know, on the back of them, they have
You can print
their
your-
message on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I print.
so I brought 100 of them
Okay.
some time
Okay.
ago when you first
Yeah.
brought it to our attention. I
Well,
did that. Yeah.
And what I did was I ordered 1,250 round to it, and I offered them to you all if you want them. And on the back of it, on the back of the round to it, I had to go generic. So what I did was I just put, do you have a will, a trust, or the government plan? Here's around to it. I mean, if you have about 5 or 6 of them in your pocket, I promise you, you'll get smiles all day long when you give them away.
Mhm.
And when you hand them around to it, they'll go, "What's this?" I'll say, "Well, I'm giving it to you because I think that you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan."
Mhm.
You know, you just go out and hand those coins out all day long if you want to. I mean, if you hand out 100 coins in a week and you get 10 appointments, then you're on the road to a $250,000 income. My question for you, or a lot of people, is what's stopping you? And for those of you who I know who are on this screen right now that are making 500 or better, congratulations. You don't need a round to it. But if you want to prime the pump, hand out some round to it. A round to it's perfect TOMA and the TOMA presentations. The TOMA is just a constant approach, top of mind approach. Any other things out there we need to talk about? Let's look at the chat room. I can't get my cursor down to the chat because I don't know how.
Hey, Randy,
Yeah.
would it be possible to get a replay of last Tuesday? I had a conflict and was
Yes.
away.
Yes. Go to randallbaxter.com, FTAP training, password FTAP courses, no space between the capital FTAP and the small letter courses, and it's on the bottom of the right-hand column.
Okay, so the most recent one's there on that.
Yeah, we're getting good at it. Thanks to Lisa, we're putting those things up within 48 hours of after we have this will be up in 48 hours.
Sure. Thanks.
So they're there.
Thanks, Lisa.
Pleasure, Cynthia.
We couldn't do it without you, Lisa, because
No, we could not.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
So let's. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
When you said you're handing out these round to it's, where are you? Like I sit at home all day. So where are you going that you're actually handing these out?
I was at Burger King today. I was in Lenore City at the One Plus Farm Sausage Factory where they were killing 350, 500-pound pigs yesterday.
Well, what were you doing there? A field trip?
They're clients. They're
okay.
clients. Sometimes if I just want to be humble, I go down there and watch them. I've been their insurance agent down there for 30 years. So I was renewing their group and I bumped into a couple of their new administrators and I gave them around to it. Joseph Amira, what's your question, sir? Hey, Joe, you got a question?
Oh, what are
Exactly.
tuits? What are the tuits? I've never heard of anything like that. So
It's just it's a little round wooden coin that's got the word TUIT, TUIT written on the front of it. And if somebody's procrastinating, tell them they need a round to it. And then give them one.
Oh, okay. You need to do something to it.
Yes, get around to it.
Get around to it.
Okay.
It is a phenomenal icebreaker.
It is. It is.
All right.
I just ordered 100 of them.
Good.
How do you order that again?
You can go. I sent an email out today. I've got 1,250 of them. If y'all buy them, I'll order some more. Mine are generic. You can have your information put on the back of them. If you go to a company called, I think it's pins.com, or you can go to Etsy and order them. I just ordered them.
Etsy.
Yeah, I just order them. I just ordered them just to have fun with it, and to give them to you all to give you an idea of something that you can carry in your pocket or your purse and say, hey, I really do think that you would benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan, and I know why you haven't gotten done or you haven't gotten around to it. And they'll go, why? And say, well, you don't have one, and you give them one, and they'll laugh at you. And once you create a smile or a giggle, people don't tell you no when you ask for an appointment.
Okay.
Smiles are good. What else you got out there?
I had another one as well. This is more to the business side.
Okay.
So after listening to you and after going through a lot like that, I'm thinking, so first off, we would do the family tree, right? Before we, so that's the most important family tree. And then the confidential is second,
Well, I
or
think the
what we call the
agenda,
interview.
I think the agenda is probably the most important on-site tool you've got. And
Okay, so
that's,
we,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, of course, we're gonna give them the, that was an important thing I learned is, yeah, give them the agenda before we start. But then, so that would be before the family tree, or give them the agenda, then do the family tree, or do the family tree and then give them the agenda.
No, the
pending.
agenda first, the agenda first.
Agenda
This is
first.
what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, agenda first, then draw the family tree, and
Yeah.
then in the interview, do the confidential.
Well, remember
And
now, the confidential is an exact overlay of the presentation.
okay, because I was thinking about, yeah, doing the confidential, and then or just offering them the free trial before, once we complete the family tree, or just go
Well,
through that with them at that point.
you can
And
do,
then,
you can offer the free trial at the end, or you can offer it at the front. If you offer it at the end, what you're saying is we'll talk another day. If you offer it at the front, you've got an opportunity to close the first time.
okay, I see. Okay, so we, after the family tree, then could offer them the free trial, and because the confidential is pretty much the same as going through the trial itself, the questionnaire and all those stuffs.
You just have to do what's comfortable.
Okay,
And like I said, once you get your momentum built, you'll learn to repeat whatever it is you're doing over and over and over. And
Okay.
it's all about momentum.
okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
Joe.
if you do the 10-day free trial and people don't move on it, do you offer more time or not?
I quit fishing when I find out that the holes ain't got no fish in it.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
But at the same time, if somebody doesn't act on it, make them feel like they're missing out on something. You know what? I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your family, about your current estate plan. That is, that's like having a Rapala lure that you drag across the river.
Mm-hmm.
Hope a big old bass will hit it. Okay. And what you're
Right.
saying to that bass is, I think you would be interested. I think you would benefit from talking to me about this lure. Okay.
Gotcha.
I used to call it creating the Mr. Big Ears. And if I can say something to somebody that makes them lean forward and put their hand over their ears and go, "What'd you say?" And I would look at them and I go, "I think you'd benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan." And they might go, "Why would you think that?" And I would go, "Because most people who do learn something they weren't aware of in their own plan. And I know why you don't have one." And they'll go, "Why?" So because you haven't gotten around to it.
I love it.
And I'll whip one out on them. Okay. But the fact is, I can plant a seed for 2 weeks down the road because I'm busy. If you plant a seed and try to pick it too soon, you lose it. But if you can make them smile and say, "Hey, I'm busy this week, but I'll talk to you next week. You have time? Can I call you and see?" And they'll go, "Yeah," because you just people cannot say no if you make them smile. People cannot say no if you give them a gift. Round two, it's a cute little gift, and they'll put it in their pocket and they'll give it away. So, I'm not saying everybody needs to do round twos. I'm just saying you find what works for you, and whatever leads you up to the ability to make a primary promise. You go nowhere if you don't make a primary promise. You don't go anywhere fast if you don't use unique mechanisms, because you don't want to look like everybody else. Because if you look like everybody else, you're just a commodity and they go to the lowest price. Bushel of corn, bushel of wheat, they're all the same. You buy the lowest price. So if you're distinctive, maybe a bushel of corn in a real nice basket, maybe you want to buy the basket. You get to the bushel of corn, but maybe put it in a basket. I was at Cracker Barrel last night with Linda, and they sold Hershey candy bars for $22.95.
Mm.
Big ones, huge ones. If I was a kid, I'd love to have had that. I would have been sick before the afternoon was over. But that's distinctive. Okay, there's a lady who I saw a movie in her life. She made dolls with big eyes, and there's a movie called Big Eyes. And if you see these dolls running around all over the country now, they're normal sized dolls, but they have these big, huge eyes. And that's the only thing she did different. Just distinctive enough to where people bought those dolls because of those big eyes. Okay, same thing that people will buy from you if you approach them correctly. And like I said, if you're in a pond of little fish, you're gonna catch little fish. And if you learn to identify where the little fish live and don't want to catch little fish, I'd say don't go to that pond. Go to a pond that's got bigger fish. And learn an approach that puts you in front of those people and solve their problem. Who else is out there? Anybody else got any more questions? I'm going to have to be doing some traveling this week. I'll be in Crossville tomorrow. I'm going to be in Nashville Friday. Charles, if you're out there, talk to me. I've got to deliver a couple of trusts out there. So, people are buying them. People are buying estate plans. They're buying them left and right. And it's because of COVID. It's because of age. It's because of relationship changes. It's because of asset changes. It's because of health changes. And it's because they get around to it. They finally get around to it. And I don't know of anybody that has bought an estate plan that woke up one morning and decided to go buy one. They don't do that.
Randy, what time are you heading this way?
I'll have to let you know. I'll email you. I'll probably be in Nashville Thursday night, but Friday morning, I need to be in Franklin. So we'll talk about that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Keep your ears open because in January, and I sent you an email out today, Sales Recruiting University is going to find all the best avatars of all the best estate planners that I've run into in the past year. And we have built a model to where we're going to be interviewing 150 people on Tuesday and 150 people on Thursday. And we're going to tell people no, that you're not the right person. And we're also going to be people say, yes, you are the right person. You fit this model. And that the model is going to be people who follow a process, who are coachable, who have at least a small client base, or are willing to take the necessary steps in the correct fashion. So, being coachable is big. Okay. So, if you bring a football to the baseball game, you might not get into the game. So, any other questions? The big things are happening. Lisa and I are working on several things, the Coaches Console with a whole bunch of other stuff like that. It's going to get really, really action-packed in January. And those of you who sit on the sidelines, we're going to entertain you. We're going to show you what we're doing. If we can't get you to come off the sidelines, just get comfortable. It's okay. But we're going to be teaching these people exactly what we've been teaching all year. We're not going to change our message. We're not going to change what we teach. We're going to change the way we find people who want to learn what we do. And we need you. But some people sitting on the sideline got all the knowledge in the world. I can't figure out why that bench is so comfortable. Come on out and play. And you know, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to do it wrong. When you make a mistake and do it wrong, you get better. But if you don't make a mistake and don't do it wrong and don't play, you don't get better at all. Okay, anybody else out there? I'd love to hear another question.
Randall, Tony was just saying that he lives in Nashville on the northeast side.
Tony said that?
Yes, on the direct message.
Well, Tony, let's eat lunch. I'm gonna be in Nashville Thursday afternoon and Friday, and I think maybe you and Charles and me need to sit down and talk. I've got some things going on in Nashville, and I need help with. My only problem is I need to know that if you're going to help me, that you do it my way.
Sounds good. Love to get together.
All right. Okay. But yeah, we need to move into the Nashville market. It's so the money is so much bigger than the Knoxville market, and the population's so much bigger. The percentage of need is the same.
What do you mean by national?
Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They speak Tennessee over there.
Okay.
I can understand them most of the time.
I will be sending you an email because it's personal, so I need to send an email to you today.
Right. But listen, there is a huge interest in estate planning in Baltimore. There is a huge interest in estate planning in Florida. There is a huge interest in estate planning in Texas and California.
I'll take
Chicago.
anybody in Baltimore.
Do what?
I'll take anyone in Baltimore.
Okay. And and Eddie, I'm looking for master licensees, and a master licensee is somebody that can teach my process and my way of thinking and my way of marketing. And I don't mean that to sound bad or anything, but if you just will do what I teach you,
let's go.
You'll have an income that you'll be happy to have.
2 words. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
Is Eddie you in Baltimore?
Yes, ma'am.
That's where I was born and reared.
Okay.
So you two need to talk.
I'm in Pikesville, Maryland.
Okay.
Okay.
I live in Virginia now, but my roots are in Baltimore.
Okay.
So maybe we can have a conversation. Yeah.
Yes,
all right. Now the next thing is we are still developing leads, but I'm not going to go with the Facebook route. I'm going to talk to you about that. But I won't give leads to people that aren't selling things. Because to me, it's almost a waste of a lead. Show me your phone our process, and I will introduce you to people in your area that need estate plans. Don't ask me to introduce you to them if you're not out doing what we teach. It's not worth the investment, because I don't know that you'll do it right. So I need to see that you're doing it right. I need to see that you want to do it right. Anybody else out there? All right. I have fun doing this, so I hate to say goodbye, but I've been up since about 4 this morning, 3:30. It's probably time for me to think about a nap. But if there's anything else you want to add, I'm interested. What is it? All right, just be aware that January is going to be hopping. That's why I'm not gonna take any more. We're going to do another class on the 19th, but it's going to be on the software, the actual software. So when I mentioned it to all of the licensees, 42 of my licensees said that they wanted software training. Okay, December 19th, 3:00, you're going to get it, and then it's going to be on the web page, and I'm gonna lead that software training, but I'm not going to be there. It's going to be a video. But I need you to be there, and I think Greg and Lisa and Steve are going to host it, and I'm going to show you what I know about that software, and I'm going to say this to you: Steve Holmes taught me how to use that software. So if you get an invitation from Steve Holmes to have individual training and you don't take us up on it, when I'm trying to train you out of my pocket, and then I see that you go through training and then you don't start producing business, I'm just going to take my hand, put it on my forehead and go, what is going on with that? Okay. And what's going to happen is the January avatars are going to come in and take all my time. And, you know, I want you to be a leader. I want you to do what we do. But at the same time, our marketing in January is designed around the avatars in our organization that are successful and writing business. We'll show you what that is. We'll teach you what that means. But at the same time, I want 400 of those avatars by the end of December 2024. And I think I'm going to have them because everything you read in this industry right now, in the financial services industry, it is projected right now that 25% of all registered reps are going to add estate planning to their portfolios. I don't have numbers on the insurance agents, but if an insurance agent doesn't do estate planning, they had to get their state to approve to give them a license saying they understood it, or they wouldn't have an insurance license. Why not use it? Okay. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Got any more chats? I see one more chat, a new chat question out there. All right.
No, there's nothing new on the chat. Joe just said thanks. It was a great class, and he'll be using it over
Hey, Randall.
Yes, sir. Hey, Raj.
One last question. How you doing,
yes,
sir?
I'm fine.
So a lady earlier asked, I think the specific question she was asking, like, where are you going out and talking? So what would be for a newer type agent, what would you say would be the best way to go out and talk to people? Are you thinking walking and talking to like commercial business owners? What do you recommend?
Well, the first thing, even if you're brand new, start with the clients you already have, because they will multiply. You know, when you go in and get them to advocate for you because you do a good job, they will refer you to the people. You know, referral is the best way to do it. The other thing is to instead of talking one-on-one, talk one to many. Find a way to talk to more than one person at one time and tell your story. You know, then you can also go out and buy leads. I don't go out and knock around looking for suspects or prospects, although I see them all the time because for some reason I have this antenna that allows me to use my personal observation to benefit. But once you do that and you get your momentum built, I do it to entertain myself. You know, I love to hand out around to it. You know, but you know, you might see a car full of kids. You might see grandparents playing golf, or, you know, anything that gets you. But people have to, and this is probably something that's very important, Raj, and for everybody. You have to become someone who's interested in helping people and helping people benefit from conversations about their estate plan. You have to become that person. Okay. If you don't become that person, you have to be careful, because you might just look like a salesman out trying to find somebody to sell something to. Okay. Just, you know, use your personal observations and schedule an appointment with Raj, and I'll talk to you about that. I use the cycle of success. I use the 90-day plan. Those are part of my life. And I realized that if I can identify a suspect, convert them to a prospect, use the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, I will have a client. That client will be so happy they will advocate for me if I use my advocate approach. Raj, what town are you in?
I'm in Central California.
Okay, all right. A couple people out there, right? I mean, they got sort of a population out there.
We're our town. The town I'm in is about little over 500,000, and if you include the entire county, it's about 1 million.
Okay, all right. so probably 250,000 grandparents, probably 250,000 or more parents. Anybody who owns a life insurance policy and has children is probably not set up right on their beneficiary arrangements. Because if they died together, those children, no insurance company is going to issue that money to those children unless there's a trust set up. So, I would encourage you to make a list of everybody you know and decide which one of those people would benefit from a conversation with you just to get started. And the next thing is maybe own one on yourself. But when you identify who you are, tell them that you work with people who might benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. So is there a lead generating system? Yeah, probably. I'm going to work with Jeff Mills. We're going to do a seminar in some libraries in January just to show people that it can be done. It costs $3,500. Not everybody has $3,500 to do it. My system, I developed it on purpose to be low cost. And my system works through personal observation and through top of mind awareness and through the cycle of success and through the 90-day plan and from teaching people what I know. When you have an appointment, if you teach people what you know about estate planning, they'll do business with you. Does that make sense, Raj?
Yes, it does.
So don't be afraid to. And then if you want to send me an email and get you some round to it. So that's all I can say. I promise you that people will enjoy it when you give them one.
Yeah, it's actually I was looking at pens.com a little bit earlier and saw that you can order them from there, so I might put an order in there.
Okay. And if you just want a few, let me know. Like I said, I like pens.com because you can put your own message on the back. And I was going to put my message on the back, but there wasn't any way for me to distribute those out to you folks with my message on. Okay, so I put the generic message on them, and then what you should do is once you see how successful they work, you should on the back of it put the name of your company, and you can put, do you have a will, a trust, or the government plan real small in the center, and then put your phone number there, or your web page. So you can get all that on the back of that coin.
And you said you go through. Who did you go through?
Pens.com.
Spell it for me.
PENS.
Okay.
.com.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I've got. I think I'm so smart. I think I had 1,250 of them yesterday. I think I've got about 600 left. So, if you want some, send them to. I can't give them away, but the problem. One reason I don't want to give them away is because people get them free and they won't use them. They pay a little bit for them, they'll use them. But you got to remember, anything that I teach you to do, if you will just get 10 people this month, 10 people this month to let you do the family tree asset positioning, go to first interview, 10 people. I promise you in 60 days, you'll be on the way to $250,000 a year income. Make them good quality people. What's that? You can't get blood out of a turnip, right? But you can tell by looking at people whether they're going to benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. You're going to know. Anything else? That question mark looks like a big old piece of cheese, doesn't it? I'm getting hungry. Anything else? I'm going to go. You better catch me because next week we're going to do one more, and then on the 19th we're going to do the software teaching, and then I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, in the I think second week of January and you know what I'm going to do down there? I'm going to go down there and learn how to better my presentation on gaps and cliffs. I'm going to listen to the people that I think are my mentors. And I like to go just for that reason. There's, I learn from new agents. I learn from middle agents. I learn from the best, the mentors down there. And my income always goes up when I come back from those things. So So if you can get down there and learn from Simplicity, Mike Stranka and Brian Gingler and Mike Bemis, and those of you who have had the experience of working with Mike Bemis and me, what I do for Mike is I generate the back end interview. And what Mike Bemis does for me is he helps my agents who get to the back end interview close the case. I'll help you too, but Mike's a master. He's a master trainer, and he's good. And I hated that when I met him about 6 or 8 years ago. I called him a whippersnapper. And I thought, well, what can you teach me? And then he showed me. He showed me where last month, commissions were about $100,000, and that was working, a lot. But they were all connected to my first interview. So it makes me think that there's a connection. Every case I've done this in the past several years has been connected to an estate plan conversation. That's where the money is. That's where you ought to go. All right, I'm gonna quit. I'm out of water. I've been sitting here too long. Time to wrap up the day. And I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did, and I hope you learned from it. And
Definitely.
if you'll email me and talk to me, all you got to do is say, "This is what I don't understand. This is a problem that I'm having. Can you help me?" And I think the answer is going to be yes. And sometimes I'm brutally honest about if you're saying you're not successful or you're not doing what you want to do, but I can identify it, and it's either going to be a problem with suspects, problem with prospects, problem with closing, and refusing to allow the people that know you, like you, trust you, to give you the names of people that they think who would benefit from a conversation with you about their estate plan. So there I go again, back in the same circle. It's all a cycle. It's all a circle. Where you start is where you end up. And when you go all the way around and you end up where you started, you will find that your starting spot is brighter, smarter, more successful, wealthier, and more accepting. If you just go in that circle, keep going in that circle. Go in it once and quit. 3 weeks later, you forget how to use the sales software. You forget the sales presentation, and you go back into the same rut that you might have already been in. Get out of that rut. So I'm going to say goodbye with primary promise, unique mechanism, top of mind awareness, family tree asset positioning, go-to first interview, free trial. What more could you ask for? It's an arsenal. It is a virtual arsenal. But you got to learn how to use them or you might get hurt. So learn how to use them. Okay, I got to go. Lisa, you and I'll talk soon. I've been busy and I'm sorry. I appreciate what everybody you've done. Okay.
Great.
All right, you guys, pay attention if you want to. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.